Everybody, it's Mr. Frost coming to you on this Wednesday. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday and you've been starting your week off good and looking forward to the end of the week and spring break to kind of get yourself prepared for our new style of learning that's going to be taking place on the 20th. I want to just briefly talk today about gratitude as we'll be ramping down this Google Classroom format and we'll be moving toward the Microsoft Teams format. So I'll be working hard over this week and next week to get that set up. So, our fifth habit is gratitude, and we kind of think of this in positivity, positive outlook, optimism, and then showing gratitude to people. Okay, and so what I wanted to share today is this chart that has four different areas for how gratitude can help us live happier lives. And so I'll talk about each briefly and kind of explain them, and then we'll go on to a cool opportunity for you that I think you'll enjoy. So, the first one at the top is talking about brain plasticity. So if you remember in Nature and Nurture, and I think I mentioned this yesterday a little bit about how the things that we do and see and learn and experience, all of those create new connections in our brain, right? We have all these neurons, and I think I left my little neuron at home. Anyway, I had a little like toy neuron. But essentially, they are building connections in our brain when we learn something new or when we engage with something new. Okay. And what's nice about those connections is that once they're built, we don't have to recreate them next time we encounter that thing, right? So once you've tasted ice cream once, your brain has built a new connection about what ice cream tastes like, what it feels like, what it smells like, and all that experience of eating ice cream is. If you've never had it before, you don't have that, and so there's some uncertainty around it. But once you try it, that new connection is built, and you can call it the ice cream connection, right? Between two neurons that know what ice cream tastes like. It also knows what you feel about ice cream, right? And so that connection's built. And then if you try ice cream with strawberries, okay, that same ice cream connection stays strong. But then you add to it another branch. I'm losing fingers. You add another branch, and it's like, oh, I also like ice cream with strawberries, okay? And then you try blueberries, like I like, right? And so it just continues to build from there. Or you find out you don't like ice cream with strawberries, then that connection is built too. And so you know that you do not want to add things to it. And when we show gratitude, it shows up in our happiness center. Okay, that's the part of our brain that gets new connections are built. On the right here, when we talked about neurotransmitters, I believe we talked about this with the exercise day. So when we show gratitude, it actually releases dopamine and serotonin into our brain. So these are those feel good neurotransmitters that I talked about recently. Oh, this is reminding me I have a meeting soon. I'll be there. So this is talking to us about our it releases those chemicals into our brain and it makes us feel good, right? And you can think of smaller acts maybe having a lesser impact, but not always. And maybe more bigger or extended acts of gratitude might have a bigger boost as well. We also see at the bottom reduces fear and anxiety by regulating the stress hormones. So we can think of cortisol as one of those. And if Nature and Nurture remembers from the video with the little alien guys, essentially each little person represented a different neurotransmitter. And when adrenaline was really, really high and it was freaking out, GABA came in and it calmed it down. Okay, and so we could see a similar effect with showing gratitude where when dopamine is released and serotonin is released, it helps to reduce the fear and anxiety associated with some of our stress hormones. Okay, so it serves as a balance to that. And it really helps manage that a lot better. So maybe you come into a situation where you're really fearful. Maybe you have to have a tough conversation with someone. And possibly before having that conversation, you go show an act of gratitude. Okay. That is going to hopefully reduce the level of fear or anxiety that you have going into that conversation, and so maybe you can approach it a different way. That's a potential, right, for having those other neurotransmitters included. It can kind of help balance out the fear and anxiety you have from the upcoming conversation. And then finally, this the one on the left kind of is similar to that one, where it can help cognitive restructuring. Okay, so um, really, if you think of this as changing your perspective or changing your focus to something more positive by showing gratitude, right? We're activating those bliss centers. We're releasing dopamine and serotonin, and we're reducing fear and anxiety. That is leading us to now I'm facing a new situation. But having done something positive or having shown gratitude, I am now at a more positive place overall. And so potentially the way that I approach a situation after showing gratitude is going to be different. Okay. That's what that cognitive restructuring is. Also, if you remember our stress videos where we talked about appraisal, potentially this could be a moment to do another secondary appraisal after you've shown gratitude because you have a new perspective, a new mindset, you're in a more positive zone, so to speak. And so by doing that restructuring, maybe now you can cope better with something that was stressing you out before. Or you can come up with a better plan to react to something that you were dealing with before. Those are all examples of ways that you can engage with these four things. But as you think about them, for something as simple as showing gratitude, there's a lot of brain benefits. And so I think it's really important to kind of keep this chart in mind as you consider the next activity that I ask you to partake in. So here we go, gratitude challenge. So what I want you to do is to write an email, a text, or you can even record a video if you're feeling real fancy and have some time of gratitude to someone. Okay, this can be anyone, a parent, teacher, friend, anyone who you just want to say thank you to, who you want to acknowledge. Let them know how much you mean to them, or maybe they've done something for you recently that you really appreciate. You can let them know that. Then what I want you to do is write down how you feel while making the message for them, and then write down how you feel when they respond. I think you'll find that as you're writing to them, if you're saying, hey, thank you for this time when you did this, you thinking about that time will give you a really nice, good feeling, right? And so consider how you feel when you're making the message, and then also write down how you feel when they respond to you. So when they say like, "Oh my God, thank you, this was so sweet," or "This made my day," right? Something like that. And then in the future, when you're really upset or struggling with something, I want you to stop in some way, show gratitude, okay, to someone in your life, and then see if that changes your mood. See if that action allows you to deal with that situation that you were struggling with a little better, or allows you to have a more positive outlook when you're dealing with it, because I think it will. But that's the challenge to you, so I'd love it. You don't necessarily have to show me what you wrote to them or recorded or anything, but you could just let me know like, hey, I wrote this to my dad for this thing, or to my friend for this thing. And then I'd love to know how you felt during the writing, and then how you felt when they responded. And okay, so today's reading is a little longer. So what I've said is to kind of manage it. You should watch both videos at the beginning because I think they're really good videos. Read the intro and conclusion. So those are two key parts to kind of give you the big picture. And then after that, you can just read which section interests you the most. Okay, so I've listed them below here, or you can read them all, right? Like that says watch them all. I mean read them all. Oh, excuse me. So there's different categories down here about how optimism engages with us in our lives. We have physical health, psychological health, or health, making sense of bad events, and then can a pessimist become an optimist? So maybe if you're a pessimist, you read that section. If you've been trying to figure out how to see the world in a brighter light. So that is all I have for you today for gratitude. Hopefully you have find some time either now or in the next week to practice and express some gratitude and see if that kind of helps change your perspectives and gives you a more positive outlook. I will see you all tomorrow for our next habit as we finish up our 7 Habits series.